Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, introducing you to my Dark Souls video walkthrough. We're still inside the Undead Parish / Undead Burg areas, and I'm doing a bit of backtracing because I'm trying to build up enough souls to get the Crest of Artorias without farming the dragon. And I'm doing that for two reasons. The first one is because it's not very fun to watch, and because it shows you some perhaps optional or different approaches to different areas earlier than a lot of people take them. Like, one thing I should have probably done by now is take on Havel, but one thing that is really useful to do before you take on Havel, if you want to have a really easy time with him, is once you open the Darkroot garden area, or the forest area with the Forest Covenant, you can go into Sif's arena and pick up the Hornet Ring, which will make backstabs and counters really powerful, and that will make really short work of Havel. Some people call him Havel, but I don't think that sounds very cool, so I say Havel. This guy up here, goodness me, be careful with this guy. The Greatsword, the Black Knight Greatsword, sorry, is exceptionally powerful, and this guy has endurance for days to keep swinging it, and if he catches you like he's catching me, sometimes you just can't get away from it. And especially with the standard roll has less iframes and is much more difficult to evade, but I do manage to clip him and then finish him off. But probably avoid him unless you're confident in fighting Black Knights. And I don't know what that guy was doing. He was just kind of like face planting. But it's a free 800 souls, and there is a chance that he'll drop the Greatsword. It's just, it's not the Black Knight weapon you want to drop if you're going to get one, because it is easily the weakest one as far as usefulness. That does not mean that it's not damaging, or it's not, you know, a powerful weapon. It's just not the best one. So moving back across the farming bridge as I get tagged by an arrow like a boss. The dragon's kind of late on his return, but I'll get the souls, 296 of them. And I think, I'm not too sure what I'm doing. I lower the fire. That gets me 200 more souls. And I don't know why I just did that. You can just drop down, it doesn't make a difference. But back to the Undead Burg. And you'll get used to killing these enemies in a similar fashion to what I'm doing the more times you come through this area. Every time you use a bonfire, you repeat the process, and by the end of it, you generally have a pretty efficient system of killing everything. Now just be careful, like there's that guy there. He will aggro from all the way down at the bottom of the stairs near the other guy that I killed when I was exiting the bonfire, and he will chase you. And it's one thing that they actually patched in the game. Because when the game first came out, the aggro ranges of the enemies was ridiculous, and it's something that they altered a lot, and it's really apparent when you're in the demon ruins, and there's like 7 Taurus demons, and only so many of them will come at you at the same time unless you're really close. And the Capra demons, they're standing together, where it can sometimes be more difficult to get them all to aggro than it is to get them individually, just because of the way they've changed the programming on that. And this right here is a bad situation for an inexperienced player, because that many enemies all attacking at the same time, if you make one mistake, they will mash you down and you will die. But I believe I'm going for Havel. That's why I've come all the way back here. Yeah, I'm going for Havel. Things to note with this guy. He will generally one-shot you if you don't have your shield up. If you have a shield that blocks 100% of physical damage, like that one does, and the other one that I had on, you will tank the hit that he hits you with. The only problem is if he hits you directly, it can make your character flinch a little bit because your poise is low, and obviously he's crushing the stability. And if you don't time your roll after that, he will generally one-shot you. But the technique for this guy is to circle strafe around him with your shield up, always keep your shield up, and then fish for backstabs, because backstabs are his weakness. There's his attack, there's the complementary backstab. And this is the strategy, but it can go wrong in about a second. And I've killed Havel many times, I've killed him low level many times, and you can still die if you get unlucky, because he can dead angle you with that giant dragon tooth. That's the flinch that I mentioned. That was very nearly an insta-kill that I managed to evade. And just remember to keep your shield up, strafe away from the attack, and get that backstab. If you're really confident in your parrying skills, you can parry him, but I would not recommend that, because I'm pretty good at parrying, and this guy can still kill me sometimes when I mess it up. It's just so much safer to just spam the backstab. And a lot of people that have been watching PvP videos or have PvP'd themselves, this will actually look like a PvP fight, because every single new player who has really no knowledge of the PvP wears this kind of suit. Completely, you know, armoured up to high heaven using big shields, and it's ugly, but a lot of people do it. There's the two-handed miss, there's the complementary backstab. And I think one more should do it with the Drake Sword, because it's pretty powerful. And you're going to be able to get Havel's ring, which is a really useful ring, but when you get the Darkwood Grain ring, it becomes much less useful. But early on, when you don't have any, it's more than worth using. And what it does is it enables you to carry more shit. And, well, I say carry, it enables you to equip more stuff, which is a pretty powerful thing in this game. And that's why you'll notice I immediately put on my full armor set, because now I know that I will not have any encumbrance because of the ring. But you can only get to Havel if you picked the Master Key, which is another justification for choosing it. And we're actually in the Darkroot Basin right now, which is very close to the area that we're going to be farming. And to my right, where I just ran away from, is a bunch of crystal golems and a Hydra. The Hydra's not too difficult to kill, but if he dead angles you, he does a lot of damage. But this is where my look changed on this playthrough, guys. This is where the build of my character was changed as well, because I get a drop off this next Black Knight, and you shouldn't really get this drop, because this weapon is ridiculous. Against the environment, against the computer, the Black Knight Halberd is one of the most destructive tools in your arsenal. It's a boss killer, it's a boss smasher. It's not the most efficient weapon against standard enemies, because it's kind of slow, it's kind of precise and finicky, but it can't really be rivaled against bosses unless you're buffing with Dark Moonblade or Crystal Magic Weapon, or if you've got a Black Knight Grey Axe, which is just as good, if not better, because it's more consistent. And you'll notice I only have 3 humanity, so my item find's probably only going to be like 50 or something crap, as that guy nearly 3-pieces me. I don't have the ring, I just get really lucky. And if this happens to you, what you want to immediately do is whatever weapon drops, scale your character so that you can use it. And what that means for me is when I get into the farming area in the Darkroot, it means I have to buff my strength up to about 32 or 36, somewhere around there. And then I can use that halberd, and then every single fight from now on that is a boss is null and void. I have effectively beat the game. And for the people that don't get lucky enough to get that drop, that's why I'm going to be upgrading and showing you how to get the Pyromancy Flame Ascended, because that is the magical equivalent of the Black Knight stuff. It's just so powerful and so useful for any kind of character. You do not have to be skillful to use it, it takes no precision, it's ridiculously good. But while I was jabbering on, I picked up the Grass Crest Shield, and I also picked up this longbow, which is why I came down here. One of the reasons the longbow is useful. Bows in general are useful, but you need a certain amount of dexterity for them to be really useful, so just bear that in mind. And you'll notice I've put the Grass Crest Shield on, and if you don't know what this shield is, this is one of the best shields on the game, but it comes at a price. It does not have 100% physical block, and for a new player who's going against the enemies for the first time, I would never recommend this shield, because you can't turtle, you can't hide behind it until you figure out how to beat the enemy. The reason you can't hide is you will take bits of damage every time you get attacked by a strong enough move, and it's just eventually going to wear you down. However, if you're confident in your ability and you don't block too much, if you're more of an evasive person or you know, first strike type guy, so you kill them before they get a chance to hit you. This shield is amazing. Not only does it have decent magic resistance and decent enough stats minus the physical, it also regenerates your stamina faster. So just having this shield on your back while you use your weapon makes your stamina come back faster. You don't have to physically use the shield for you to get the buff. And anybody wondering how to tell when the buff is active, there's the obvious one of I now have these green lines coming off my body. And also underneath the stamina bar on the top left you'll see 3 green arrows, and they're basically telling me that I have this regenerating stamina ability. That right there is the secret bonfire. You'll generally see messages telling you that it's there. Now I have 20,000 souls after what you've just seen happen. I can go back to Andre the blacksmith and I can get the Crest of Artorias and enter the Darkroot garden. So thanks for watching, and you take care now.